UFC 298 rundown, starting from the bottom to the top. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. I'm going to go with Kopylov. I think Kopylov has the better movement. He's going to be cutting angles. I don't see Anthony Hernandez being able to cut off the cage. Anthony Hernandez, what he wants to do is essentially get in close and put his hands on you. He does have powerful hands, something to look out for. So he has a puncher's chance. But outside of that puncher's chance, I think Kopylov is a better striker overall, and I think he's just going to make it look easy. I think he'll be having his way in there. So then we got Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. I'm going to go with Merab Dvalishvili. I really am, and I like Henry Cejudo. I was there when he lost to Aljamain Sterling in the Prudential Center. That was a fun night, my first UFC event. But I just think Henry shouldn't have taken all that time off. I think that really is going to come back. He'll look back on that time and kick himself for that. He had some contract negotiation disputes with the UFC and Dana White and all this stuff. And I think that time off, right smack dab in the middle of his prime, he's going to regret that. I think Merab Dvalishvili gets it done. I think even if he can't take Henry down, he may have Henry up against the fence. And I think he's going to win a unanimous decision. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili, unanimous decision. Then you got Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. I am very excited for this fight. Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary. Ian Gary is going to have to answer to a lot of things. We didn't get to see him the last time out. He ended up getting pneumonia. Me personally, before I get into this, I just want to bring up a scientific study to you guys. They had water bottles. One water bottle, they wrote on it ugly and a bunch of negative affirmations and, you know, you're the worst, this, that, and the third, right? And then the other water bottle, they wrote a bunch of positive affirmations. You're beautiful, you're the best, you can do anything, things like that. And then they froze the water bottles. And the ice crystals actually formed differently. The one with the negative affirmations, it was all jagged and rigid and messed up and all things like this. And the one with the positive affirmations came out perfectly. It had beautiful form, crystals of ice, all things like this, right? So my point in saying that is the amount of hate that Ian Gary was getting in that time, I believe he truly felt that negativity. It was everywhere he looked, and I think that's genuinely what made him sick, and he had to pull out a fight. I really do. I think under the stress, I mean, you could look it up. If you're under a lot of stress, you could break out in rashes. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that just the mental can bring out to the physical. Now, with that said, I think even stylistically, Jeff Neal's a tough fight for him. I think Jeff Neal, if you watch his fight with Vicente Luque, if you watch his fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov even, Jeff Neal's a hard problem to solve. He's going to come forward, he's going to put those hands on you, and he's going to throw some kicks too. He's well-rounded, he's not one-dimensional, but he's gonna hurt you. Jeff Neal hurts people. Jeff Neal lands shots too, and I could see Ian Gary with his finesse kind of style needing to walk a tightrope against a guy like Jeff Neal. I could see Ian Gary getting clipped by a guy like Jeff Neal. The question is, can he get clipped and then get back on track, or will he get clipped and the momentum snowball and he ends up losing, right? I think that's what's going to happen. I think Ian Gary will lose this fight. I have Jeff Neal winning this fight. But who knows? I have been wrong before, of course. This is the sport of mixed martial arts, where anything could happen, and Ian Gary may very well show us who he is and show us that, yeah, he's next up. Now, moving on to Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I'm not really the biggest Paulo Costa fan. I think he's becoming into a clown. He's turning himself into a clown. There was one point in time where Paulo Costa was taken very seriously as a middleweight contender, and he was viewed as like this Terminator kind of guy. Not so much anymore. He had I don't want to say a close fight with Luke Rockhold, but he should not have went the distance with Luke Rockhold the way he did. He should have knocked Luke Rockhold out cold, just based on Luke Rockhold's, performance history as of late, right, guys? I mean, listen, if you are who you say you are, and Paulo Costa is truly that middleweight contender, he should have knocked out Rockhold. And not just that, but all the games he's playing, pulling out of fights and things like that, it's really a turnoff. Let's just say that. Robert Whittaker, consummate professional. I think he's going to go in there and get the job done. I do not think he is a dead horse the way Sean Strickland said he is. Sean Strickland, before his fight with Dricus du Plessis, said that Robert Whittaker is a dead horse, and I think Robert Whittaker is past his prime, and that's why Dricus was able to beat him, blah, blah, blah. He did not want to give Dricus credit on being that damn good and being able to beat Robert Whittaker. I, on the other hand, think Dricus is that damn good, and I do have respect for Robert Whittaker, and I don't think he's over the hill quite yet, and I think he's going to show us what he can do. He's going to remind everybody. You almost have forgot. Robert Whittaker, unanimous decision over Paulo Costa. That's my pick. Could Paulo Costa win by knockout, puncher's chance? Yeah, but outside of that, Robert Whittaker's taking this fight. Moving on to the main event of the evening. Look at these two here. Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria. This is going to be a fun one. In terms of, you know, elite MMA, this is what you want to see, right? A long-time champion versus the contender that's surging and things like that. But if you really think about it, who has Ilia Topuria beaten that could make you think, oh, he's going to steamroll Volkanovski? Well, you can't really say, right? Because he beat Ryan Hall, and that was a good win when he beat him. And he just destroyed Josh Emmett, and that was good. But Josh Emmett is not Volkanovski, and I would have liked to have seen more, you know? It would be nice to see Ilia Topuria fight an Arnold Allen. It would be nice to see Ilia Topuria fight a Max Holloway, or to see him fight, you know, what's that one dude? Calvin Kattar. There's a bunch of guys that I would have liked to have seen. Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega. There's a bunch of people where it's like, okay, if he beats them, it's like, yeah, now I could make the case more. But with that said, Volk has been so dominant. Holloway has been so dominant. There's not really many contenders. They're giving him the opportunity. He has a big following from Spain, things like that. He has more followers than Volkanovski. I think Topuria gets it done. I'm going to say that. I just believe in him. He has that feel to him. He has that manifestation feel. The whole, you know, he's filming a movie and a documentary before the fight, and he's changing his Instagram bio and all things like this. I believe Ilia Topuria will finish Alexander Volkanovski. I think Ilia Topuria is like this in his career, and Alexander was like this, but the knockout loss to Islam Makhachev really put a damper on things, and I also don't think it's been enough time. It's not even been a full 4 months since that vicious knockout took place. So with all of that said, I think it's going to go a little bit like this. I think Volkanovski is going to look to be very conscious and protecting himself and very defensively responsible when it comes to the head. And I think he's going to be conscious that, you know, I did just get knocked out, etc., etc., and he's going to be on point with that. But I think it's going to leave him open to the body, and I think Ilia is going to crack him to the body, and we're going to see Volk get hurt to the body, and I think Ilya's just going to pour it on from there, and that's what I see happening. And I could be wrong, of course, right? It's MMA. But I see Volkanovski losing. I see Volkanovski's negative momentum continuing. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the sport that we're in, and that's the way things go sometimes. So I got Ilia Topuria, new champion, etc., bringing the UFC to Spain. And that's my take on this, man. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, leave a like, whatever platform you're watching this on. If you agree, disagree, it does not matter. Just join the discussion, and please follow for more. Thank you. You are all appreciated.